It's certainly been a busy time for video games. I got a lot to talk about with Expedition 33, of course, but first on my list, I figured I'd talk about the surprise release of Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Now, I've been talking this one up a lot on this channel. It was like the worst kept secret, right? With the leaks and the rumors and stuff like that. I was looking forward to this just because I really liked Elder Scrolls Oblivion. It hit at the right time for me. It was like an obsession. So my first exposure to Elder Scrolls was technically Morrowind, but Oblivion just really hit. There was so much hype before it released. So all that just kind of, it's a game I never really completely revisited, like dove deep back into. So to finally jump back in, honestly, it was just something I was really in the mood for, something I was looking for. You know, when it seemed like it was going to release, I was talking to my friend Andrew and I was like, man, if this drops right now, this is like, I would like to just go balls deep into this and just play the hell out of it. And sure enough, that has been the case. Look, with what they fixed and what they updated, you can argue that this game did actually need a remaster. It did need a re-release. And I think what's been really cool to see is just people experiencing Oblivion now for the first time. Maybe it felt a little less approachable to people who've considered playing it in the past, but now with some updates and stuff like that, it seems like a lot of people are jumping into it and a lot of people are kind of getting like a mini new surprise Elder Scrolls game. And I think that's absolutely a win. Now, looking back at it now, after I've spent so much time with it back in the day and a lot of time with it now, it is a fairly simple game. It's not the most complex RPG. It's not the most ultra dense, but I think it just has so much quality over quantity, if I'm saying that. Yes, a lot of the dungeons feel a little repetitious and Oblivion gates and stuff. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But for the moments that you remember, they really stick with you. So many little instances and side quests and things I remember stumbling upon back in the day just still hit perfectly. They still feel fresh and they're just as I remember them. And I think that just speaks to the strength of them, right? The quests themselves being interesting, the music, the voice acting around all that. So just experiencing a lot of these cool moments again has been great. I also think it's interesting in terms of a remaster, right? Like what you change and what you don't change. What you update a little bit to make, accessible for more modern gamers who aren't used to some old bullshit, right? Stuff like that. Like what you change, what you don't, how you keep the soul, right? Here, it was very much a less is more approach. They didn't overdo it. It wasn't heavy-handed in terms of how they changed up some of the RPG mechanics, some of the UI mechanics, some leveling up stuff, like little things, right? But not enough to completely overhaul the system. The level scaling is also still not good. And honestly, that's what the game is. And they decided to stick to and commit to what the game was. So I've been loving playing it, and I love that I'm playing it, and it does manage to feel, yes, new and crisp and cleaned up in a lot of ways, but still very much the game I remembered. Little things with the visuals, it was hard for me to get over, but I want to emphasize, I've really enjoyed playing this. My only issue is performance, completely. It's not good. I've been dividing my time actually between checking out the PC version and the PS5 Pro version, and it doesn't run well on either. On PC, it has some optimization issues and some things I struggled with here and there, but I actually found it to be a little worse on PS5 Pro with the frame rate kind of dropping all over the place while you're just exploring out in the open world. Very stuttery and very unfortunate, and I really hope they fix that soon because, come on. I think it's almost funny, right? I played the original Oblivion on Xbox 360 when it launched. And then when Skyrim came out, my hubris got to me and I was like, I'm going to play it on PS3 because I had a PS3 at the time. And it ran like crap on a PS3. It was awful. Skyrim on PS3 at launch was not good. And it almost feels like it's like that curse is following me here with the PS5 Pro version. That aside, though, the visuals I have like good and bad, right? I've talked about this before. I love the color palette of the original Oblivion, right? Extremely saturated, deep blues, oranges, greens, lush forests. The bloom lighting makes everything kind of dreamlike and blurry. And that contributed to the overall look of the game, right? I've used the word and people are like, get over yourself. But Oblivion had kind of a painterly, dreamlike quality to it originally, especially when that was what a lot of games looked like in terms of the graphical bar, right? It just had something unique to it. So now with it remastered and the visuals overdone, it lacks that like unique identity that I think it originally had. It's still gorgeous, but it just feels like it just kind of slots more into like if you looked at this screenshot of this game with a screenshot of like some other game, you'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever. It still has moments where it really excels, right? Spending some time in the Shivering Isles expansion, which just comes with it, looks great. Also, just in general, the holy shit moment when you walk out of the first, like, out of the sewers, right? That's like a big moment from the original game. It's a big moment with all Elder Scrolls games, really. But here, it wasn't like the wow factor of the color and the landscape. It was more like the draw distance and some of the visual effects and atmospheric effects and like turning around and seeing the wizard's tower in the background, like way in the draw distance up on it. That like that, you're like, oh wow, shit! Like this does feel like a big, real new version of it. Going up on a hill that overlooks the valley where the Imperial City is, right? And the Imperial City actually having some detail to it. Like that stuff is where it does really hit. To when you're like walking moment to moment, you come across some random little village, you know, there's some broken down fences, there's some nice foliage, there's flowers, like it just builds things out a little more. You're still coming across like the same, you know, temple entrances or you know, dungeon entrances that look kind of the same, but as much as I'm nitpicky about like the initial like, whoa, the shock of like the green saturated color palette that the original game had, as much as I still miss that, I still think this game looks really decent, and, you know, it really excels now at night. There's some little weird visual flickering I had here and there, but like the night sky, the skybox, just how the moonlight casts on things, how some plants have a little glow, a little light to them, that just makes playing at night a lot more enjoyable. And look, I'll be totally honest too, right? Like I probably give a lot of things a free pass with this game just because I did like the original so much that it does kind of feel like a warm blanket jumping back into it from everything, right? From like how simple combat is and just navigating the world. It's like pretty easy breezy for the most part, but the voice acting, all those familiar voices, all four voice actors, you really feel like you get to know them. You get so familiar with them. The music, of course, you know, every time you go inside, you know, some of those interior songs, like all of it just really, really just kind of wraps you up and you know what you're kind of in for. It's a very still dreamlike game. Maybe not from the visuals like what I said earlier with like the bloominess, but from the music standpoint, this is a game that respectfully can put you to sleep. I mean that in a good way. And I actually fell asleep playing the original. I like that I'm on record that happened, but not because it's like a boring game, but because it puts you in this Zen like peace like quality. And I know some people are, again, you're like, it's a video game. What are you talking about? But you know, everybody likes that game, right? That like turn off their brain game. Oblivion can be one of those. It was for me. Hop in it, wander around, stumble upon a cool little quest, you know, fuck around with some things, or get into something deep like the Dark Brotherhood stuff, that whole quest line, and really discover that like Bethesda at this point was hungry and they were really, really cooking on some stuff. But again, too, like I respect how it still feels like the original, right? Like you look at right at the beginning. Okay, a couple of things in the beginning. The main menu is fucking like, whoa, holy shit. Like when I saw it, it was literally like, I was like the guy getting blown away by the sound. The title screen just looks awesome, right? As like an old fan. But things like Kvatch, right? Like the siege of Kvatch in the beginning of the game, you storm it, you have all these soldiers, you're fighting some gross little dudes, right? Visually, it looks incredible now. Like, you know, the fallen tower, the fire, the rain effects, the lightning, all of it looks like $1 million. But it still just feels very small and dopey as you see these characters walk around and swing a sword at enemies, and it looks a little janky. So that's the game kind of like having that fresh coat of paint, but still actually maintaining the original feel. And I don't think at this point I needed it to be like this complete overhaul like this, you know? And now before we keep going, this video is sponsored by NVIDIA. Yes, that's right. The fine folks at NVIDIA sent along a GeForce RTX 5090 to slap into my PC and check out the beauty of DLSS 4. What exactly is that? Well, if you're not in the know, DLSS is essentially a bunch of fancy rendering technology that uses machine learning to make your games look better and run smoother. We're talking faster frame rates and higher image quality without the trade-offs you usually might be used to. We're essentially turning the quality dial up without sacrificing performance. With new and improved DLSS 4 and multi-frame generation and other stuff going on under the hood, it can multiply frame rates up to 8 times over regular old-fashioned rendering. That's a huge boost you're getting out of the RTX 50 series, and holy crap, does it make a difference. Testing it out on the Half-Life 2 RTX demo has been a blast, as well as, of course, Cyberpunk 2077, which I usually use to flex when I upgrade my PC. And again, it's been really nice to jump into Half-Life 2 RTX because I've been enjoying it with crazy high frame rates, even at higher settings. So I finally feel like I'm able to fully take advantage of my 4K monitor and my high refresh rate TV. DLSS is something I've always been familiar with as a PC gamer, but with this latest generation, it truly feels like a powerful tool for the PC gamer's utility belt. And DLSS 4 is no small thing. Over 100 apps and games supported. Games you might already be on, like Marvel Rivals or The Finals, but also games you've been meaning to get around and play, like Black Myth Wukong, or maybe Stalker 2. Well, now is the time because they're gonna look great with this. YouTube videos can only do so much here. These are the types of frame rates you really gotta see to believe. So to learn more about DLSS 4, which games take advantage of it, and NVIDIA's slick new line of GeForce RTX 50 series cards and laptops, all you gotta do is click the link in the description down below. Go check it out, and big thanks to NVIDIA for sponsoring this video. Oblivion Gates. Oblivion Gates now look incredible. I mean, back in the day, they were pretty cool. As you walked up to them, the sky changed, the color changed, the music changed, right? It still has that, but now with like Unreal Engine 5 stuff and the fire, it looks incredible. Then going into those Oblivion Gates, they're still boring. From a level design standpoint, the towers and everything, it still all feels really tedious. But when you get to the top of one of those towers and you look around and now it looks like fucking Doom Eternal, that's good. That's like the stuff from a remaster of this that like I want. And I think what actually makes Elder Scrolls Oblivion stand out now in 2025, really, what makes it kind of refreshing is just how unabashedly like straightforward regular fantasy it is, right? Like it is very much wizards and cat people and elves and orcs in a very fantastical setting with kings and castles and bright colors and magical spells, right? Like obviously every Elder Scrolls game has like a different thing, but with Oblivion, to me, it always just felt very much like picture book fantasy. And it's fantastical in the sense like, yes, like there are like goblin mages shooting spells at you. It can be a little corny. To you're fighting minotaurs, to you can literally find and ride a unicorn out in the middle of like a dense, lush, beautiful forest. The hunt for that unicorn in the original game, especially trying to find it without guides or anything like that, was so much fun. And I think that now in 2025, like we have so many people blossoming from the genre, right? Trying to go on and make like these crazy new fantastical fantasy things and things we haven't seen before, right? Everything is so crazy and different and either cool or like over-designed, right? To be fantastical, that I feel like going back to something like this that is just very much straightforward fantasy just really works. You know, it's really something that, you know, you might be in the mood for, you might have an appetite for. I think young players might go into this, and because it isn't like super changed, some people might be like, this is so boring. Like the combat sucks, it's all janky, it's all old. Why do you people like this? Look, some people might not get it, but I think that if you can look past some of the older feeling aspects of the game, you do get something that, again, feels like a warm blanket, but like a warm fantasy blanket. And the story, I think the actual like main quest line is, sorry, I'm like hitting my microphone, I'm so excited, is actually like pretty underrated. It's got a lot of cool shit. Obviously the game kicks off with Emperor Uriel Septim by Patrick Stewart, right? But like, I think not a lot of people realize that like a character in the game, Martin Septim, is voiced by Sean Bean. And honestly, Sean Bean, like Boromir aside, love Boromir, but his voice and video games and like with his voice in Civ too, like, right, it just fits in this fantasy setting so well. And it, you know, with him, but with everything else, it just leads to a really good main quest line that I enjoyed. And I actually found like it is in a time then and even now, right? Not every video game ending hits. I thought this game had a really cool ending and like a big cool ending fight sequence, something I didn't expect back in the day, and it blew me away. And I scored that victory, and then you see like a statue in the town of like yourself, your character, and everything like that. That stuff's great. I'm excited to finish it out and get to that point again. And of course, like in good Oblivion fashion, like I didn't even try and make an ugly guy in the character creator. I tried to make kind of like a dark elf Geralt, but he looks awful. He looks so stupid and ugly, because that's just how my character creators go in old Oblivion and even now. And you're gonna see towns and like most importantly like quest lines and like guild quest lines and stuff like that that really kind of influenced RPGs moving forward, or at least Western RPGs, in a lot of ways. I think some people are going to stumble upon some quests or some writing here and there and they're going to be like, oh, wow, this is where some of these ideas started from. This is where this has bubbled up into other mainstream video games. And for me, honestly, again, like I want to point out, like one of the best things about this game is the music. The music still top to bottom, 100% hits shockingly hard, is so incredibly good. I just think like games with like a score like this, whether you're in the arena fighting or you're wandering around through a forest, right? Like those types of scores that really stick with you, like really worm their way inside of your brain, whether it's a movie, video game, anything, those come few and far between. And I always like really doubling down and like really like just talking about how much I love them. And it has been fun to like revisit some of these cities and towns specifically and see them a little more fleshed out, a little bit more detailed, statues a little bit more noticeable, buildings having a little bit more individuality to them, streets having a bit more detail. That plus NPCs that still look weird, but don't look as weird is good. And I think that's where like it translates over from the old game very well. Some of these towns too, like it's like you get to that point where like you know them by the back of your hand, right? So like walking down some of those same streets again has been really, really good. Can you tell that Oblivion was my game? Like Oblivion clicked with me way harder than Skyrim did. Some of you are going to think I'm crazy for that. I know Skyrim is like the biggest game ever made in the whole world, but like Oblivion, just that special place in my heart. And with Oblivion Remastered, I definitely recommend it, especially if you have some tolerance and you have some patience. If you're a younger player and you expect everything to be like awesome and accessible and crazy and amazing all the time, you know, go into this with some patience, but I think you're going to find something that you're really going to like. It just needs some bug fixes. Definitely a couple of bugs, some character screen bug stuff, and some performance updates, because I really expected more, especially with a shadow drop, right? It's not like it had a release date. Like, I mean, it probably did internally, but it didn't have a public release date like chomping at its heels, right? So I think it could have used a little bit more time in the oven. What I am curious to see is I really hope Bethesda doesn't like jump on. It seems like they're not, but it doesn't seem like Bethesda is going after any fan projects or anything like that, like Sky Oblivion. So like even with this Elder Scrolls Oblivion, right? You can mod it, of course, but like it doesn't have official mod support like their other games. Still, people have been modding it, and shout out to people who did change the color palette for me, like with a filter. I really appreciate that very much. But to go back to it, Sky Oblivion is a community project, essentially rebuilding Oblivion in the engine of Skyrim. And I've been looking forward to this for years and years and years. It's been a very slow, volunteer-based project. We talked about it on the Game Ranks Friday news show quite a bit, and I just think it has potential. And I said it in another video, like when this game leaked a couple weeks back, like I think there is room for both. I really do think that like we can see Virtuos and Bethesda's interpretation of remastering Oblivion, and we can also see a group of dedicated fans' interpretation of Oblivion rebuilt in Skyrim's engine and feel, right? I'm actually excited. Like, I think it's like two different flavors of comic book or two interpretations of a character, like that type of thing. And I just wish them the best, and I really hope to see that soon too. No rush though. Just saying. Honestly, I'm excited to see where this goes. I hope Virtuos and Bethesda clean up some things. I hope Sky Oblivion continues. But I'm excited to see more people jump into this and experience the arena for the first time. The Dark Brotherhood quest, like Khajiit stuff, anything. There's so much. The annoying fan, the adoring fan, like all that shit, right? I'm excited for people to experience this for the first time and like make things out of it, videos, memes, and all kinds of things, right? It's fun to be in the culture with like a resurgence of an old game. And I know we're in that time where people are sick of remakes and remasters, but to be totally honest, I was in the mood for this one, and I think it hit pretty well. So I want to know in the comments, if you were one of the people like jumping in for the first time, I would love to know what you're thinking about this game so far, what kind of character you rolled, what your first experience was when you stepped out of the sewers. Let's talk about that. But also, if you're like me and you're coming back to the game after a long time, maybe you were obsessed back in the day, maybe you played it a few years ago, what are your thoughts on this? Because yes, some of the bugs are pretty annoying and the performance has been bothering me, but beneath that, are you still having a good time? Do you think it was treated with the care and respect that you think it deserved? I think so, in the sense that they didn't change a lot. They didn't gut it, right? They didn't rip it out. They didn't completely overhaul things. I like that they presented it as it is. with its flaws and all. So anyway, let me know what you think, where you're at with Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered. Let's talk about it. Thank you for letting me go on and blah, 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 blah about a game I really love. I appreciate it. That's what I try and do here first and foremost. We talk about the news and, we get down on things sometimes, but ultimately, I'm trying to just talk about stuff I love. So if you get that, clicking the like button helps me out. I appreciate that. Thank you. But if you're new, just know that I put out videos randomly over here and every Wednesday. Every Wednesday I put out what is usually a news video, but today it's Oblivion. Big thanks to the sponsor again for this video. Really appreciate that. That's crazy. But thank you guys for watching. Clicking the like button helps me out. I really appreciate that. But that's it. I'm Jake Baldino. Subscribe because video games. Pizza's on me.